Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me here. So, I was hoping that I could talk a little bit about your experience with the course. And anyone who's maybe on the fence about it, they can use your case study to figure out if this is a good fit for them. Sound good?
Absolutely.
So, why don't you just introduce yourself to us or to them, because I already know who you are, and tell us who you are, what you do, where you practice, your website, all that good stuff.
Okay. I'm Andrea Santiago Malcolm. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and certified sex therapist. I also teach therapeutic knitting.
Super
Uh,
cool.
I love it. And I have office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I also have a smaller office in Boca. My website is 363therapy.com. And my niche, which I'm learning to embrace and accept, is couples with issues, intimacy issues, sex therapy, um, trouble getting back into the bedroom, people who have medical problems,
Mm,
whatever's, and I'm learning, like, even though I say medical issues, anything that's giving you a bump in the road to your sex life or put your sex life on pause, those are the couples that I want to help work through.
yeah.
I'm a breast cancer survivor. I've had more surgeries than I know what to do with. I take a licking and I keep on ticking. And this year was the first time, and this website revision is the first time I've actually put it out there on my website and have been comfortable. Like, this is who I am. I'm a breast cancer survivor, sharing my story a little bit.
And what was
I
that like
know
for you sharing that part? Were you hesitant at first to talk about yourself in that way?
I was, because it's who I am. Like, if I met you at Publix and you were wearing a pink ribbon, I'd be like, oh my gosh, me too. But there
Hmm.
was something about my training and the therapy office that I'm like, no, I have to be this like neutral person. You can't
Hmm.
know if I'm married. You can't know if I have stepkids or regular
Blank
kids.
slate. And I'm somehow going
Yes.
to be relatable in that way.
And I'm like, is it this transference, counter transference? And I had that all in my head. And then once I started doing it, people are like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Or I read on your website that you are a stepmom, so that made me want to come and see you.
Hmm.
Or I've had I've had scarring or a cancer or whatever. So,
Yeah.
you
When
know,
did you start getting that confidence to be more of yourself or at least to show up more authentically?
I think a lot of it was just the course. Like, I had been slowly dabbing my foot into it, going, the
Hmm.
people that I admire, Brene Brown, Gwendolyn
Hmm.
Doyle, all they share,
They do it.
they do it. I'm like, why don't I? And then taking the course and really just focusing on who I want to be as a therapist, who I want
Yeah.
to be, as what I want my reputation to be. If people are saying you should go see this therapist because she's open, honest, sarcastic, funny, she's a human being, she's not a robot. And I
Yeah.
think the course allowed me to do that, like niche down and just own it. I don't want to work with, trauma. I don't want to work with
Hmm.
children. I don't like working with small kids. It's not my gig. And owning that, and that's okay. Like, I
Hmm.
don't want to work with addiction, drug and alcohol. That's not my profession. And being okay that I don't have to be everything. I think that the niching week was
Hmm.
like, you don't have to
Huge for
be,
you.
I don't have to be the plumber, the electrician,
Ooh, well,
and everything.
talk about that. So before we even started chatting today, you were explaining that whole like example about the plumber.
Yeah, no, I think Laura had said it a few times in the course. And even when I talked to you before the course, you had said, just trust it. And then you have this great analogy that, my water heater broke. And who did I call? I called a freaking plumber. I called a plumber. I called the same plumber I use. And I waited for a plumber because it took a long time to get a plumber, as
Hmm.
opposed to calling Joe Bo, general contractor handyman, to say,
Yeah.
fix my water heater. I like hot showers. That is my indulgence. And I'm not going to, trust that to just
Mhm.
anybody to do it, cause a flood in my house. So why would anybody just trust the Jill of all trades? I can do your kids. I can do your divorce. I can do PTSD. I can do addiction. I do it all. I got you.
It's like
No.
no. So people assume that a specialist can do generalist work because you still get calls from everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I still get calls from everybody, people who are like, they just like the fact that I was open about what I specialize in, or they liked that this, they may present for one thing, but it turns out like the sex is the underlying issue. And I think that's
Hmm.
what drew people to me. Um,
That you're a person.
I'm a human. every
Yep.
day in every way. I've got challenges. I've got challenges with work. I've got challenges in my marriage. I've got challenges with my family. I've got challenges with my health. And I practice what I preach. And that's a lot of what I tell my clients. Nothing I'm asking you to do with your partner is not something I'm not willing to try at home myself.
Man, that's
Or,
great. That makes you so relatable.
right. I'm
You're
like,
not just like this expert who knows everything all the time and has the perfect life.
and I think that's the fallacy. Like, I think we focus so much in school about transference, counter transference, that
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm a professional and I know that when I share, it's to be relatable and it's to help. I'm not sharing to say, what do you think I should do with my husband?
Right. It's never
So,
for your own, like, it's not for you. You're doing it
no,
for them. And
I'm
as
doing
it's
it
relevant. Yeah.
as it's relevant and trusting my own judgment, which I think is the biggest thing, is that once we let go of the shoulds in the woods, I trust my judgment. I trust myself. I trust my intuition as a clinician. I'm not always perfect. Maybe I, cursed too much this one session, but it says so
I
on
don't
my
know
website.
anything about that.
I, but I put it on my website. Like I used a writer. A lot of stuff you said, just outsource things that you're not good at. I have been struggling with over a year to write my website content and write my Psychology Today profile. And I'm like, why? This is not my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
I found someone. She's an expert at this. She helped me niche down. She's good at it. She's better than I am. And I paid her the money to do it. And I gave myself the time to do the things I like.
Which gave you
Uh,
more energy to do more things that you like.
which did.
Yeah.
And which gave me more, to figure out, like, the big thing, my big passion is knitting as a tool for anxiety. And I was very resistant to, I had this mindset that I have to advertise that I teach knitting and then people will come to me. And it's been the reverse. People will come to me and I'll go, okay, have you heard of therapeutic knitting? It's on my website. It sounds a little crazy, but I teach
Mm-hmm.
it as a tool to cope with. People aren't going to be open to knitting. And I had to kind of accept that
Yeah.
just by reading it on a website. But they come in, they see me knitting, they see that there's yarn in my office. I'm like, here, try it for a week, see how it helps you. That's how I get people interested in knitting, not selling knitting on my website.
Man, you're making me want to try it. And I've never knitted a day in my life.
I would love to teach you. We'll have to
Yes.
do something. We'll get you going.
We'll talk about that offline.
Offline. But
No, but seriously, I'd love to learn. So where were you in your practice, like before you even joined the course? What was going on for you?
so I did everything. I was the biller, the scheduler, the therapist, the paper office organizer, and I was doing everything very manually. So if a client called me, I would email them their packet. I would bring a paper packet. I would schedule them. It was just, I would do this billing myself through Availity. I was doing all these crazy things and I had my own system of doing things. And I wasn't focused, and I wasn't focused on bringing in the business. And I didn't feel organized. I felt like I spent 2 hours working on how to bill an insurance claim as opposed
Yeah.
to what's a new technique, what's going on in the world, taking your course.
Mm-hmm.
I hated my website. I really, really hated my website. I really didn't like my Psychology Today profile, and I just was kind of frozen.
And
And then
it
I
sounds like
got,
maybe you didn't say this, but it sounds like maybe you felt a little frazzled or just like unorganized, because it's like you had a system, but it wasn't working for you, but you didn't know any other way. You thought this was the way it had to be, but you didn't have energy to put into other things that you enjoyed doing.
right. And I kept setting this false threshold, like, okay, once I hit X amount of clients, then I'll buy software. Once I hit X amount of clients, then I'll reach out to somebody else to help me with the billing. Once I reach this
Mm-hmm.
an imaginary limit, until then, I'm going to buck up and do it all because I'm growing a practice.
Yeah, I'm just going to
And
bootstrap it all.
yeah. And I was completely like disorganized. I probably wasn't a very good therapist to my initial clients. So bless them for staying with me. Um, and then you and I spoke. I don't know how I found you. I really can't remember. I was trying to think how I found you.
I
But
think it might have been, I'm not positive, but I think maybe because I was on the Private Practice Startup podcast and I was talking about Psychology Today, because I want to say that you reached
yes.
out to me shortly after that.
Yes. So I was doing like everything you said, like listening to 30,000 podcasts as I'm driving in my car and going crazy. I'm in Publix, listening to 20 different, and it's overwhelming. Like,
Yeah.
it's very, and then you just hit a shutdown point.
You hit a wall because it's just information overload, and a lot of the information can be contradictory sometimes, and you don't know who to listen to.
Yeah.
So
No.
what finally led you to say, because you had this imaginary threshold, like when I see this many clients, when I'm making X amount of dollars, when I'm working or seeing these many people each week, then I'll start making investments back into my business. So when did you finally decide, okay, fine, let me invest in this course, even though I'm not at this imaginary threshold?
I had a come to Jesus moment with myself. I realized I was paying you good money and giving you my time for your advice. And I was ignoring it and going, yes, she's wrong. I'm going to do it this way. Like, no, she's wrong. I shouldn't. I'm like, and then it was like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending all this time? Why did I give Laura, spend money on a course if I'm not going to at least try it? That was really it. And I'm like, all right, just try it. If my Psychology Today profile sucks and I niche down and it sucks, then I can go back to being the Jill of all trades.
You can always go back.
I could always go back. You know what? If I spend the money on the software and after 1 year, I'm not showing that it's worth my money, I can cancel my subscription and go back to paper and what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really me talking, practicing what I preach. Like, why, and that's something that I tell clients. Why are you here if you're not going to try the things that I'm suggesting? If what you're doing is not working,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
There's
not listening.
fear of the unknown, because
Yeah.
you're already doing everything you knew to do and it wasn't working. So why would you listen to some random person in another state? Like, there was a risk in there because you would have had to then exert all of your energy into someone else's plan for you or recommendations for your practice. Like, that was risky. I'm glad you did it.
Me too. I'm so glad I did it. It was risky, but if I don't take a risk, then this frazzled feeling isn't going to go away.
Yeah.
Or I'm never going to feel like my business is organized, or I'm never going to get the rate I want.
Right.
I mean, and I did a lot of good things. There's still things, of course, that I want to do,
Always.
but I've posted my rate on my website. That was the scariest thing. But then I realized I did it myself. So I can go back after we hang up. And if I hate having my rate on my website, I could undo it.
Yeah.
Duh. It's
That's one of the
hard.
beautiful things of private practice. Most things that you do or try, if it doesn't work out, you can go back to a different way. You don't have,
Right.
you're not stuck in this lane or trajectory forever.
Yeah. No,
So
it was
what
awesome.
what were some of your favorite moments or parts of the course, or just things that you learned? Like, what were some of your favorite moments there?
My favorite moments were, the week of the niching, like really don't hire the electrician to come fix your freaking water heater. He may be capable, but he's probably not going to do it well.
And we talked about that in week 1. Like, that was right off the bat. We dove right in because that really forms the foundation for everything else.
Right. That was really an important thing of like, all right, I got to specialize. And then, my website, like nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a freaking shit what letters mean. They don't care what my letters mean.
They all know.
They don't know. They know, okay, she's got a bunch of letters. She probably has a degree, but can she help me? Is she nice? Is she relatable?
Mm-hmm.
So changing how I did my website, like nobody cares that I'm certified a sex therapist. You say the word sex, cool.
Yeah. Does she get me?
Right. Does her website make her sound like a human, not it's understanding, I think, the difference between presenting for, a conference that they need to know my credentials and they'll understand what my credentials mean. And, hey, I can help you. I'm a human being. Come to my office, and changing that mindset. So that was fun because you were like, they don't want to read your resume. The resume doesn't mean anything. They don't understand half of it. They don't understand discharge planning and interventions.
They don't care.
They don't give a shit.
Oh my God, if I read another website or Psychology Today profile that talks about providing like a safe, non-judgmental, person-centered, solution-focused, like, my own eyes glaze over and I know what all that means. So a potential client is like, what in the world?
Yeah, they're like, I don't freaking care. Can you help? And that was good. And then just, when you said, get the software now before your practice gets busy, because it's going to be a lot harder. And I don't even know. My practice is like doubled, or it tripled. I don't even know. Like, wow. And I was small. I was really small. I had like 4 or 5 clients, and now I'm like almost 20 clients. And that's a really short amount of time.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is where are you at now? So what's happened? So the course was a few months long and it's been a few months after that. So it's not like, I don't want to sell people on the idea of, you take this course and by the end of the 2 months or 10 weeks or whatever, magically your practice just overnight shifts. Like, I think I want to make sure people know that you are using the course to set up this framework and this foundation, and you're putting everything in place so that as you get busier and as you do what I talk about in the week on marketing, your practice will grow, but you'll have such a firm foundation on which it's planted that you can handle the influx. Because did you do what most people do in week one, where we're talking about goal setting and everyone's just focusing on like, my goal is to have 15 clients a week or 20 clients a week or 25? Did you do that too?
No, I didn't put a number to it. I put I wanted to do my website. That was my short-term goal. Psychology Today and my website were my short-term goal. My like year out goal was software and hiring somebody and like doing the marketing stuff. I didn't have a set number of clients. I probably should. I'm starting to see in my head, like, yeah, I probably need to know where my capacity is.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that you said, like the scheduling. Like if you called me for therapy before I took the course, I was like, when do you need therapy? And I will move heaven and earth to be in my office
make
for
it
you.
happen.
I got you. And now I'm like, no, I'm in Fort Lauderdale on these days and these days. I'm in Boca on these days and these days. Let's see what we can do to fit you in.
Which is so much more sustainable for you.
Yeah. And I show up as a better clinician because I'm not frazzled or like, I just came here for one freaking session. Holy crap.
So you're chunking.
I'm blocking out the times and I'm like, boop. And people, I think I have this, I know I did. I had this fear in the beginning of like, if I say no, or if I say no, I can't, they're going to go and find somebody else and I'm going to be poor and live in a van down by the river. Like, I love me some Chris Farley.
Yeah, me too. And now, by the time they call you, they've already done all the research. Like they've already looked at everyone else's website that they would be interested in. And then they chose you. So they're going to make it work.
Right. And they all have made it work. They've all made it work or, said, okay, not this week, but next week.
So talk to me about the timeline then. So if the course is, I'm thinking about making it a little longer in the future. So I don't just want to say like the course is 8 weeks long, because I know it was for you all, but I'm contemplating maybe like making it a little longer based on the feedback I've gotten. So maybe the week on systems is 2 weeks. It's like 1 week to learn about it and another week to implement some of them. And then the week on websites might be a little bit longer too, because it's one thing, again, to learn about what a website should look like or what it should include. And then it takes a whole nother week just to even think about how you're going to start putting those in place. So for you, from the time you started the course until you actually started seeing the fruits of your labor, how long would you say that process was for you?
When did I drop off the face of the earth? I would say probably somewhere after whatever, the one about the systems where I bought Simple Practice, where it was just me and my iPad going, fuck it. I'm just going to buy this. I'm just going to do it for 1 year and try it. And and I think right around that same time I had niched down. I had done them all at the same time. I think it was right around that systems week.
Yeah.
And I just went, and we posted it on like a Friday or Thursday, and I had gotten 4 calls and I emailed Catherine, who was helping me with the content. And I said, niche down for everything. And we took like what was 8 pages of how awesome I am for everything and just made it like 3 or 4 pages. And then the calls keep coming. And then every week I'm like, oh my gosh, 2 more calls, 2 calls. I get like 2 calls a week. I mean, but that's still a good increase from what I was getting.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I get about 1 to 2 2 clients last week. Yeah. Last week I had 2 new ones, probably averaging 2 a week that are just calling me in.
Wow. Well, and that doesn't sound like a lot until you start adding it up.
Yes, exactly. I know it doesn't, as I'm saying it, but then I'm like, no, 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 2 is 6. And it just kept, and I'm really grateful that I had the Simple Practice, because there was a huge difference between going, okay, give me your email address and I'm going to email you all these forms. I'm going to print them out. No, Simple Practice is just like, give me your email address, first, last name, boom, fill all this stuff out online. Life is great. Put your credit card in.
And it's great for them, which is what I love about having an EMR, because not only does it help you and it makes you feel more organized, but it helps the client, because they're like, oh, I can just fill this out at my leisure at home. Like I've had so many clients come to me and say, that was awesome that you have that client portal. And then I can just schedule when I want to, and I get these reminders and it's all automated. This is great. So now in your practice, I think you said you grew triple from the time you started?
Yeah. Cause it was really small. I had like 2 to 3 steady clients. And now when I first took your course, right? Yeah. And now
awesome.
I should be hitting, 20 steady clients by the end of this year.
Congrats.
So
That was some hard work that you put into that.
yes, hence the freak out melt. I agree. You should extend the course out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you'll get your type A people who are like, I'm going to do this all at once. If you say 6 weeks, I'm going to do it all in 6 weeks. And then
I'm going to do it in 5 and then get a gold star at the end.
Yeah. Where's my gold star? But there are things that I kind of, as you said, like put things on the back burner. You know what? My website isn't where my big vision, it's good enough. And that's okay for now. And just accepting like my website's good enough. I have visions. There's more I want to do, but you know what? It's better than what it was. And then when the time comes, I'm going to invest and I'm going to work and, update my website.
I feel like websites are always in a good enough thing. Like my website is never to the point where I'm extremely happy with it. Like I always see things that it needs. It's annoying. So, what would you say to someone who, like you, maybe they are either in the newer stages of setting up their practice, so they don't have a ton of clients yet, they don't have a ton of money even, and they're on the fence, they really, really want to do this, but they're just like afraid. Maybe like you were saying earlier, it's like, she's going to tell me something new or something different. I'm thinking back in like the marketing week. A lot of what I talk about is different. So someone who's interested, but they're really on the fence, they're watching this because they're hoping to see themselves in this. What would you tell them?
I tell them to take a leap. Like if Laura's personality, your personality spoke to me. If her message speaks to you, then this is the course for you. And just let go of what your expectations is. Don't resist what you're taking. Like it was money that I invested. But if you're ready to make that investment, then I have to make the additional investment of the suggestions. I didn't feel like you were trying to sell me like a pyramid scheme or something. Like you made good, solid investments.
Yeah.
Suggestions of investments. That if you're on the fence, to definitely do it when your practice is slow, because now that my practice is busy, it takes me 2 seconds to do an intake with a client and get them set up and scheduled. I have an app on my phone. I can do it in Carpool.
Honestly, if you were this full but didn't have all the systems about your practice that you learned in the course, and then now that you have, theoretically now you have more disposable income because you have more clients. But if you took the course now, I almost don't even know if you would have the time to dedicate to it because you're so busy. So maybe the course is even better for someone, even if they don't feel like they have the quick cash to just throw at it. It's like, yeah, but they have time. And if you have time, you can do this.
Right. Because I don't know where I would have had. And there's a huge difference between transitioning I think I only had my 2 or 3 clients. I can't remember who I had in the beginning. There were only 2 or 3 clients that I had to transition to simple practice.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that if at 20, going, hey guys, I'm switching to a new software. So, because the few that I had, I was chasing down, like, I need you to fill out your information on this portal, please.
Right. So it actually worked out better for you that you were still small, and then you could take the time to organize your practice and create systems that work for you, because not everyone is going to benefit from the same systems. Like I think everyone could benefit from having an EMR like Simple Practice or Theranest, but there's some systems that are a little bit different based on what your niche is or what days you work. It's like having some sort of process from the time someone finds you online to the time they're sitting in your office for the first time. Like, what does that need to look like for you? So I think being able to have that time that you can dedicate in the beginning is really important.
Right. And, if you're not getting clients if you're slow in the beginning, then what do you have to lose by doing what's suggested? And I think that's where I had to have, and it's practicing what's that's the talk I had to have. What do I have to lose by listening to Laura? I paid for her course. She knows what she's talking about. I love her website. I love what she's saying. Worst thing, I undo everything and I've lost some money.
Yeah.
The best thing is I trust somebody who, knows what they're doing, and my practice grows and I'm prepared for the growth. It's not just about that you're guaranteeing that in 12 weeks, your practice will double. Whenever that happens, I'm prepared.
Yes.
Even if there's stuff that I haven't done. I haven't done the networking with the physicians. I've gotten the release. I haven't done the networking yet or following up. And that's okay for me. That's long-term goals.
Well, and now you at least know what that looks like.
Right.
And you can always go back to the course afterwards because you have lifetime access to it anyway. So as I'm adding stuff to it, you can always go back and you can download those templates, whatever you need to do. So
So it's picking whichever system works for you. You know, if you have that one client and that speaks to you better than, you know, updating your website, then do that. But nothing that you've said, stuff I'm not, you know, there may be stuff that I'm not ready to do right now, but
nothing you were like, what the is she talking about?
Right. I mean, in the beginning, I was like, no, she's crazy. I can't just say I'm only going to do sex therapy with women. I'll never see another man again. I get more men calling me.
Because you understand women and that's
Right.
what they wanted to.
I'm like, I don't understand. It's all these husbands calling me. I guess Laura knows what she's talking about. And I have to trust myself because something about the course resonated with me. Something about talking to you. I think you and I had a call. There was a connection there that I'm like, I like her style.
Well,
so
I
I
think
have to trust
you
my
had maybe called me for individual coaching, and I think I may have like steered you away, but it's not like I didn't want to work with you, but I was like, what she wants is the course. But
right.
like, why would I charge her 3 times the amount for coaching with me when I know that she can get all of the information in this course? So I think maybe that helped you because I wasn't just like, oh yeah, let me sell you all this, expensive coaching package.
No, you didn't. And
I was like, get yourself a ghostwriter and take this course. And then come back to me if you need one-on-one after that.
And I'm doing pretty good because everything that I need is in the course. Like, I know I sound like a total, like Laura slipping me money under the table, but she's not.
Just a little bit.
I know, but I was a skeptic. I was very resistant in the beginning of the course, but I had to do what I tell my clients, when you don't know, trust somebody who does. And if I've come this far and I came this far to call you for whatever reason, something's booked, and then I went the next step and I gave you my credit card, let me do 2 things you suggested and see how it works. And it's been awesome.
And it did.
It did. It's like, you know what you're talking about.
Almost. Some days, imposter syndrome still comes up for us too,
Yeah.
It's good to know like that there's confirmation that what I talk about can work for anyone. Like it's not like I'm only talking to people who work with couples or only people who work with children. Like this can work for whatever your practice is, because this course is all about setting up the foundation, which people often forget about because they're so laser focused on getting the clients. And what I'm trying to help people understand is that you can get the clients, but if you don't have the foundation, your practice is still, I'm not going to say it goes so far as to say your practice will fail, but you're going to struggle because you didn't have it organized enough. So it's like, the number one reason why businesses fail, not enough business. But what's the number 2 reason? They grow too fast. They don't have the systems in place, right? So I'm glad that this course really solidified that for you. And so now, like you said earlier, you're prepared. So as your practice grows, as much as you want it to grow, you're prepared and you're ready. You can handle any influx that comes your way.
Right. And I can. And I think if I feel like it's slowing down, I can go back to the course and go, all right, what are the other things that I could do to bring in more clients?
In a way that works for you.
Right.
Not just like, oh, well, she says to blog every week, so that's just something I have to do.
No, I'm working on that. I'm working with the ghostwriter on that because I'm still a little resistant to blogging. I keep calling it a newsletter.
Well, and like that's where I come from. If you don't want to blog, then don't.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how to make a blog work for me. What do I want to see in a blog? It doesn't have to be cookie cutter what everybody else is doing. So,
oh my gosh, if I read another blog about like 5 tips to handle stress, it's like, okay, you and everybody else has that.
Yeah.
Start over.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm
if you're
trying
not
to find
something like remarkable out in the world, then there's no point.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Was there anything else, like anything I didn't ask you that you're like, okay, someone needs to know if they're watching this, like you need to know this one thing?
Don't try and eat the elephant all at the same time, of course.
Yeah.
She means it when she says, do what you can, take it a bit at a time, pick and choose. This course is not just because the course ends at whatever 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. If you ever expand it, do it at your own pace. I think that was the biggest thing, is that when I stopped trying to I have to be on Facebook and post in the group, and I was like, fuck it. I have to do what I feel right within the context of this course and make it my own.
Right. And that was part of the reason why I don't even let people move forward in it. Like we only do each week one at a time to even further reinforce that idea. Like don't take it all on at once. You can always come back to it.
Right. And if you're not finished with week 1, that's okay. Do what you do. Week 2 is there for you whenever it's your week 2, not the schedule week 2.
The elephant of Laura's course. I like that.
Yes, do not eat the elephant of Laura's course, one bite at a time.
Yes. And it tastes better that way.
Yeah, you can enjoy it. You can breathe.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Andrea.
Of
I really
course.
appreciate it.
Of course.
And I'm going to keep the video playing, so don't actually hang up, but I need to stop
Okay.
recording. So bye-bye.
Bye.